I think what I love specifically about guitar, and in the context that I use it anyway, is it's a very it's the foundation. It's in my opinion it's a big part of the emotion of the rhythm track. Um, for me, a song can have so many different colors or so many different flavors, all of them depending on what the rhythm guitar player is doing. For me, what I love about the guitar is that it is it's the initial building block of what goes on. It pretty much sets the mood, and when when you feel a change in mood coming on, you can pretty much steer it with a guitar more than any of the other instruments that I've played. You know, I am probably on the worst end of that, where I envy a lot of people who have the work ethic to truly prepare and spend the proper amount of time. I find that I am always more pleased with what I've done when I can spend half an hour to 45 minutes. I typically warm up for 5 or 10 minutes before I play, but it truly takes me about 30 or 40 minutes before I'm truly warm. So yes, if it really matters, if it's something I really care about, yeah, I'm playing at least an hour before I need to keep anything. Typically though, I warm up for 5 or 10 minutes just to make sure I'm loose, but if you're trying to do your very best, for me, that's closer to an hour. I mean, there's some things feel great some days they don't. I try to focus on the things that don't. I try not to, the things that are easy to do, you typically want to, you find yourself practicing more. I try to play the things that are not feeling so good, or the things that might be a little more difficult for me to do. And if I'm really going to warm up, that gets me there quicker than anything. But for me, a lot of it's just making sure that I'm moving. I don't necessarily play. I don't have a regimen or a routine or any specific thing that I repeat that I go through. Just make sure that I'm playing, and if I'm singing, just using my voice, warming up a little bit. There's a big difference from going at it cold and to warm up. For the most part, I do on a guitar or a mandolin. More often than not, if I were to be completely honest, the guitar is more of a distraction when I write. I find myself playing. I mean, I've always thought of myself as a player first, and still, when I'll find myself starting songs or being partway through songs that feel like they could go somewhere, and I'll get caught up in a goofy lick or something that I, for whatever reason, can't let go of. And the next hour and a half is all guitar, 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 and I have no idea what I started to write. So, the guitar, this one, I guess it's a blessing and a curse. I don't know. It's a distraction while I write. If I have a mandolin, or if I'm writing without any instrument in my hand, I tend to focus a little more on what I'm actually doing than when I'm playing. When I'm playing, it always steers toward the playing. Boy, I think. For me, I would probably go crazy if I couldn't play. I mean, for me, I think it's a part of my life that lets me maintain any level of sanity. Almost any direction that I go outside of music, my answer to whatever I happen to be in seems to be music. It's where I feel safe. It's such a big part of me, and always has been. I just don't, I can't imagine a life outside of music. It's whatever's on my mind. If I'm feeling happy, makes me think of music. If I'm feeling sad, it makes me think of music. I mean, I forever and continually run back to some, to some sort of rhythm, not necessarily always singing or words or songs, but the emotion of rhythm tracks. For me, that fuels me. That's the biggest part of what I feel like I am as a musical person. It's about that foundation of what the emotion of the rhythm track, what it's saying. That is what I think I'm most passionate about. If you should be able to understand what a song is about to say by how it sounds. Before the words come in, you should be feeling that emotion. And when songs tend to line up and lyrics match that, that's when I really find myself, just digging it the most. That's when I'm completely loving what I'm doing. Is when I find myself in that situation where kind of all the stars line up and you're playing something that feels the way the singing, when it all comes together. I was going to mention that before. If there's any one secret, I mean, I have been very fortunate to see a lot of different awards and accolades and different things, but it is most definitely the company I've been able to keep. I mean, I have for so many years I've been able to play with just the best of the best. I mean, the people that I love the most in music, I get to play with, and most certainly that's the biggest part of what I've done. I think for a good share of my time playing, I've always felt like the weak link. I've always felt like I was catching up to the people that I was playing with. I keep finding every time I've joined a band, it's been with a new instrument. My first band, I took up the banjo and we started a band, so I kind of had the on-the-job training with that. When I joined, only been in 3 bands. My next band was the Lonesome River Band, who needed a mandolin player, and I was a banjo guy, at the time, but I wanted to play music, so I played the mandolin. When it came time, to join this band again, I wasn't really a guitar player. I knew a couple chords, but I acquired a guitar, and so when I'm playing with the people that I get to play with, to be honest, most of the time I'm really feeling like I need to watch my P's and Q's and make sure that I'm, that I'm not, slacking off. For me, when you see the different, that there are so many phenomenal musicians that, and like as you mentioned, you can look at some and be inspired, and look at some and you can just say, gosh, why can't I do that? For me, I've always been inspired by it. I mean, I've never really fought to try to be as good as someone or to. I just love when things come together. I love, it's like a new light bulb turns on each time you figure out a lick or you figure out how to work something into a phrase, and then when you become, more comfortable and you can not have to play licks and you can just kind of play, that's what I try to look for, and that's still what I enjoy in the people that I think are the best, that are at the top of their game, may not necessarily be the people who are technically the best players, but they're the people who play the best emotion. They're the people who don't worry about the fluff and just play the meat of what matters. No, most of my mentors growing up were live local musicians. I was never the type to listen to a lot of records or to sit down in front of a stereo. My parents went to every fiddle contest, square dance, bluegrass festival. Anytime there was live music in the area, we got to go, and I would be there, and I would sit as close to the front as I could, generally right in front of the banjo player. And the guy that I saw most that I got to talk to was Paul Sylvius. He was the guy who played with Del McCurry. Phenomenal banjo player, completely interesting, ways of playing melody that no one else was doing, and just powerful and just smart play. He's just the best player, and the nicest guy. And he was extremely positive when I talked to him, with my playing, and was always very encouraging. And it was neat to have someone I thought that much of, give me some words of encouragement back. It definitely was part of what made me want to play.